Castlevania reference? Check. Now let's get on with the review. As Season 4 was under the works, 4 new writers were brought forth this time. Since I've been used to the many names I've heard prior, this kind of left me feeling a bit skeptical at first, because I'm not exactly sure on what their styles are and what could be brought to the table. It takes me a little while to indicate their qualities, and even then it gets a little challenging for me. Corey Powell, for example, has left me split by 2 of her episodes. She wrote Sleepless in Ponyville, which was an episode I thoroughly loved in Season 3, and yet she wrote Just for Sidekicks, an episode I hated during Season 3. However, even the more notorious writers out there can have their fair share of good episodes, including Meriwether Williams. So with all that in mind, we start off with Josh Haber, who is the writer for this episode, Castlevania. He's pretty new according to his resume on IMDb, and so far, this episode was fairly decent. It begins when Twilight's given a letter from Celestia to explore the library of the abandoned castle in the Everfree Forest. This is mainly because she wanted to know more information behind the key box from the Tree of Harmony. Sadly though, this was never mentioned again, and the episode doesn't serve much of a purpose for the key box afterwards, and instead becomes a setup to lure Twilight in the castle. Coincidentally, we're given pairings of the rest of the main 6. Starting off with is Rarity and Fluttershy. They enter the castle to retrieve some ancient tapestries so that they can modify them. On the other hand, both Applejack and Rainbow Dash pair up on their way to the castle to compete for who is the most daring pony. Eventually, they all get separated and snagged by the many haunted house cliches imaginable. Trapdoors, hidden passages, living portraits, aggressive thunder and lightning, and heavy organ music played in the background. On top of that, there's an ancient myth that Applejack explains.
When Nightmare Moon was banished, not every last bit of her dark magic went with her. Granny used to say, when night falls on the castle, that magic takes the form of the Pony of Shadows!
We later see this appear at the end of the episode with glowing eyes. Either it's a villain being set up for a finale, or it's just a wink to the audience. I'll have to wait for that one. The one thing I should get out of the way are the gripes and nitpicks that I have, which are very noticeable. For starters, Rarity only cares about collecting the tapestries in the castle, and that's pretty much it. At one point, Fluttershy loses Angel, and not once does Rarity give a crap about her concerns. Yet for that matter, why the hell did Fluttershy bring Angel with in the first place? She knows how dangerous the castle could be. What also bothers me is that Rarity has Fluttershy insist on taking down a giant heavy tapestry by herself, when obviously Rarity could just lift it off the wall with her telekinetic magic. Later on, she does try to lift another tapestry with her magic, except she's pulling it from the fabric and not from the pole. What's also annoying is that Twilight's completely unaware of the pipe organ that's playing in the background as she's reading that Alicorn Sisters journal. I know it's kind of nitpicking, but in short, these motivations are pretty weak and forced. So yeah, I wasn't fond of Rarity and Fluttershy pairing up. Applejack and Rainbow Dash, on the other hand, were entertaining by their competitive nature. Even in that regard, however, the competition can get pretty ridiculous. In the beginning of the episode, we see them covered up in bees, which was weird as hell. As they were further separated in the castle, they were assuming each to themselves that they were winning the competition despite what they were dealing with. That all said, however, it thankfully doesn't overwhelm or distract me. The idea behind the episode is to play with the haunted house cliches in such a comedic way, and clearly it shows. The interactions with one another are pretty engaging on the level of what leaves you guessing what will happen to them. They connect with one set piece to the next, although strangely they don't hear each other's screams for some reason. While I'm on the subject of screams, some viewers found them to be annoying, but to be completely honest, I found these screams to be hilarious, especially with the involvement of Applejack and Rainbow Dash's daring game and the level of pride that makes them deny their fear. A lot of what they are scared of is nothing really to be scared about. It's just the fear psychologically getting the best out of them. And ultimately, the absolute best part of the episode is at the climax, where they're all backing up into each other in the center of the castle, and flipping out like crazy. Dash and Applejack are running all over the place like pinballs, Rarity's covered in one of the tapestries, and admittedly watching her cry under the fabric is just adorable as hell. And lastly... Holy crap, did Angel just get crushed by a pillar Applejack knocked over?
I'm pretty sure GoldenFox is actually laughing at this scene right about now.
Ha ha ha, I'm so loving this scene. I mean, really, he was such a dick. He was abusive, he was unsupportive, and overall just unforgivably despicable to no end. That little fucker deserved to be crushed and put out of his misery.
Dude!
Ah, what the hell? Jim?
Fox, you are fucking sick. That is the most sadistic thing I've ever heard out of you. Have you lost your goddamn mind?
I was kidding.
What, seriously?
Yes, Angel isn't really dead. He was found by Twilight earlier in the episode when he was nourished a batch of carrots. What Fluttershy saw was a silhouette of what she thought was Angel, but it was just a pair of leaves that fell out of Rarity's mane and landed on a rock, thus resembling the shape.
Oh, okay then. I really can't blame you for hating Angel, though. Little fucker deserves to be crushed by a pillar.
Anyway, Twilight calms them down and they all discover that Pinkie was the one playing the organ. Earlier in the episode, she said she was heading to school to ring the bell. This wasn't what I had in mind, but hey, it's Pinkie. You can't question it. They gather together and start a new moral system of the series by writing down their very own journal for their lessons and experiences to be passed on to the next generation. Seems convenient enough since Twilight's no longer Celestia's student. See, that's how you change the moral values.
I didn't learn anything. I was right all along.
Sorry, I still just irk at that scene. On a whole, this episode was a lot of fun. The characters could have been presented better, but it wasn't too bothersome to me. Some of the scenes were pretty suspenseful and pretty well comedically timed. The various contraptions in the castle were also pretty creative, despite how cliché they were. And on top of that, the intense atmosphere was great, and the shadowing of the dark colors and the music all fit together, creating that level of suspense. Not bad, Josh. Not bad. I hope to see more from you. Until next time, this is GoldenFox, and I will catch you all later.